Now on CoastTV News.
A final farewell. Bethany Beach says goodbye to summer with the annual jazz funeral. How long that tradition has been going for. Slow summer. Ocean City shops say business has been lagging this year. Business owners hoping fall concert will help. And a Georgetown memorial service. Community members gather to remember Patrolman Chad Spicer 16 years after he was killed in the line of duty.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
That's right. Goodbye to summer. And good evening to you. Welcome to CoastTV News at 11. I'm Christina DiRobertis. It is tradition here on the coast, a full-on jazz funeral to mark the end of the summer season. Crowds wearing all black, carrying summer 2025's casket down the Bethany Beach boardwalk today. And those New Orleans-style bands setting the mood. You can hear them. Many people say they're sad to see summer go, but they say it's always great coming together for this fond farewell.
I think the parade is one of the best parts, obviously, but we always love seeing the casket that they carry around for summer and then all the signs and everything afterwards. I think that's probably the best.
And by the way, the Bethany Beach Jazz Funeral tradition began in 1985. It's been celebrated every year since then. Now, Labor Day, it's meant for a day off, but some people in Ocean City were on the job today. They're reporting fewer customers than last year. One worker from OC Socks near the boardwalk says business has not only been slow this Labor Day weekend, but the entire summer.
We don't know if it's the economy, the tariffs, or just the weather. Everybody didn't come in because of the storm last weekend. For Jeep Week, we thought we'd come back this week, but nope.
And businesses are hoping that they'll see more cars, more people during Oceans Calling and the Country Calling Music Festival. Those are both happening this fall. This does bring us into our CoastTV poll tonight. We want to know how you spent your Labor Day today. Looking at the results, a few mixed answers. 11% were on the beach, 45% say a backyard barbecue. That's always fun. 22% local events, also 22% were working today. I get that. And you can still vote. Let us know what you did on this Labor Day. Go over to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. Now we're looking live into Ocean City, and our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on the forecast. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Christina. And, well, out with the old, in with the new, right? So out with the old season actually officially pretty soon, but we're feeling like fall right now, even as we speak. 69 degrees right now. We're cooling off into the 60s, and we're going to slide our way to the low to mid 60s before the night is through, going into the early morning hours. Now, we're actually clocking 58 degrees in Redden right now, 55 in Harrington, 57 degrees in Delmar, Laurel, as well as Gumboro. Now, the current wave heights, we're at 4 to 5 feet for right now, keeping a close eye on that. But once again, we're going to be concerned about too much sunshine, okay? Going to be at a very high level. You can burn in 35 minutes. It's going to feel cool, but the sun is going to burn hot and will burn you hot if you're not careful, okay? Now, as far as any kind of watches are concerned, we do have a small craft advisory in effect down towards Chincoteague. And for the evening planner, for the rest of the overnight going to early tomorrow morning, winds will be pushing out of the north, staying relatively calm as we slide from the 50s back into the 60s for tomorrow morning. We'll have more on your full forecast coming up. To then, back to you, Christina.
All right, thank you, Paul. Well, for many people on Delmarva, hunting, it's a sport, a hobby, even a livelihood, and a new law would have required hunters between the ages of 18 and 21 to have supervision. But as Coast TV reporter Emma Aiken explains, that's no longer the case.
Hunting in the woods means a lot to Sean Kane. He's happy that hunters between the ages of 18 to 21, including his children in the future, will not need supervision.
I've been hunting since I was their age, and he's been hunting for 3 years, he's 6, and she's been hunting for 4 years, and she's 9, so I think by the time they're 18, they'll be ready to go.
The bill that would have required supervision was part of a number of gun safety bills signed in 2022 after mass shootings. Advocates say it was for safety. But president of the Delaware State Sportsman Association, Jeff Haig, has said all along this was wrong.
This was done by the General Assembly. Even though we told them it was unconstitutional from the beginning, they just ignored our advice, which they usually do.
Even with this weekend's ruling, Haig says there still needs to be changes for younger hunters.
And it was pointed out that this is really going to restrict hunting because people over 16 previous to this legislation, were allowed to hunt unsupervised. I mean, they had to have a license, but they could hunt. And that is going by the wayside now. That's part of the revision that the Department of Natural Resources made, was that people 17 and 16 still must be under direct supervision. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's for another day.
DenRec says it's adjusting its hunting guide to comply with the judge's order.
And that was Emma Aiken reporting. Like Emma said, the rule was part of House Bill 451. It was a 2022 law signed by then Governor John Carney. The bill banned most people under 21 from having firearms or ammo, except active military, law enforcement, or those with a concealed carry license. And the law did not apply to shotguns, muzzle loaders, or other non-firearm weapons. But again, the hunting part of the law was struck down by a judge. Now, if you are a Delaware hunter, here's what you can hunt right now. Starting today, you can hunt Canada goose, deer, but only using archery and crossbow, also mourning dove and coyote. And it's migratory game bird hunting season in Maryland. The Department of Natural Resources is releasing the schedule for each bird season. That includes mourning dove and early resident Canada goose. The department says teal season will follow later in September. Also, woodcock season opens in late October. Hunters are reminded they must have the proper permits. Well, it's almost time to hit the books for many students, with the first day of school arriving tomorrow. Stores were flooded with families today picking up some last-minute items before that alarm clock goes off in the morning.
I used Walmart pickup this year to do school supplies, so I didn't have to go in and fight the crowds. So we've just kind of been picking up things here and there, and it's made it a lot more manageable and a lot more easy.
Yeah, and like we said, most schools start tomorrow here on Delmarva. You can find a full list of those school start days on CoastTV.com. It was a somber day in Sussex County today as Georgetown remembers Officer Chad Spicer. Spicer was killed in the line of duty on this day in 2009. And today, friends, family, Georgetown police gathered to remember him. He was shot and killed on September 1st, 2009 while trying to pull over a car that was involved in an earlier shooting. Dozens of people came to the circle this afternoon. They do it every year. Georgetown Police Chief Ralph Holmes says Spicer will always be their small-town hero.
We always want to make sure that we take time out of our schedule, whether it's a holiday or not, that we come out here and officially remember him as an agency and invite the community in to think about him for that very, very short moment because he gave everything for this town.
And Spicer's mom and daughter were also there. They spoke briefly, thanking everyone for coming and remembering their loved one. And we also got confirmation today that the Chad Spicer Memorial will be brought back to the Georgetown Circle. You might remember the Spicer Memorial was damaged back in 2023. Georgetown police say it happened when a drunk driver crashed into it. The town considered moving the restored memorial elsewhere, citing safety concerns, but many, including Spicer's family, urged council members to keep the memorials in the town center. Again, we now know that is where the memorial will stay. Meanwhile, Ocean City is preparing to recognize the 24th anniversary of the September 11th attacks with a week of remembrance events. The town says starting this Friday, 2 beams of light will shine every night from the Firefighters Memorial on North Division Street. There's also going to be nightly evening programs featuring a performance of taps and family tribute videos. On September 11th, there will be a morning service and annual joint memorial service at the Firefighters Memorial there on the Ocean City Boardwalk. Now to a growing reality for many seniors living across the country. Even after years of making good money, more and more seniors are finding themselves in the streets when they fall on hard times. NBC's Stephanie Gosk shows us how one man's story in Phoenix highlights a nationwide crisis.
For nearly 2 decades, Vernon Wedge worked security at Dillard's department store. He had 2 kids, a 401k. But when his eyesight went at age 69, the Arizona native found himself out of a job.
Money ran out. We got a shopping cart and hit the streets.
He was homeless for the first time in his life.
So those are the little shower spouts.
On a 107-degree day in Phoenix, he showed me what he had to do to keep himself, his adult son Grant, and their dog alive. The safest place was a local church where they slept for months.
On those nights when you were sitting looking up at the cross, what were you thinking about?
Trying to have God talk to me and tell me everything's going to be okay. Save my son, my dog. Help me.
Last year, more than 42,000 Americans over the age of 65 were homeless, and researchers estimate there could be more than 100,000 by 2030. Nationwide, there is a lack of affordable housing, and the average Social Security check has not kept pace with inflation.
When we age, we don't adapt very well to the heat. How are you?
Much better.
Nurse practitioner Leslie Hamadi watches the numbers of homeless seniors grow firsthand.
Are you regularly finding people out here completely dehydrated?
Very, very dehydrated, lethargic. We do offer IV hydration if it's that bad. We're going to be pulling up.
The team drives the streets, matching up with people they see daily.
Good morning.
And those who they spot for the first time. Living on the streets is hard for anyone, but especially so for seniors.
Memory impairment is also something that happens when we age.
Yeah.
So even remembering, who do I call? Where do I go? So they need one-on-one support.
There is a safety net that is in place, but is it enough?
No, there's not enough. There needs to be more housing resources for our seniors.
Now, seniors-only homeless shelters are popping up around the country to meet the growing need. At St. Vincent de Paul, residents are allowed to live in these 8x8 cubicles for 2 years. Vernon only has 8 months left.
Do you worry that you could end up back on the street?
Yeah, at times. My vision getting even worse. I don't think I could do the street again. Oh, outside.
Now 73 years old, he's still searching for a permanent home.
Come on, buddy.
Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Phoenix.
And we are just getting started this evening. Coming up ahead, we have a holiday history lesson for you, the true meaning behind Labor Day. But first, an airport protest in Baltimore, why Avelo Airlines is under fire.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast. Listen, we're going to clock a couple more days of temperatures in the 70s, then we'll up the ante to the 80s. We'll talk about that surge in temperatures coming up in a moment. Well, it's really quiet on the home front, kind of how we would like it and like it to stay that way. Thanks to high pressure that will be in full control of our weather pattern, we will have the opportunity, well, to enjoy lots of sunshine, but you still need the sunblock. Don't forget the sunblock. All right, so our Gateway Subaru camera in Ocean City, we're looking at comfortable and at least much more friendlier waves as of right now. 69 degrees. We're going to drop to 63 by 3 o'clock with partly cloudy skies. Now, we've already fallen into the 50s in a couple of locations. Here, let me show you. We're at 55 degrees right now in Harrington, 58 in Redden, 59 degrees in Bridgeville, as well as Millsboro and Dagsboro, but also 59 degrees in Ocean Pines, Willards, and we're at 57 in Delmar and Gumboro. But the winds are relatively calm. So we have relatively clear skies, calm winds. All of that sets us up for a perfect radiational cooling night where the temperatures just drop dramatically because of the lack of resistance for what heat we've accumulated throughout the day going back up into the atmosphere. Now with our Delmarva Peninsula, generally speaking, we're staying quiet. And I see limited cloud cover to the late night, early morning hours. But take a look at our recap of the month. I mean, we didn't have much in the way of crazy temperatures, but we were lagging with our precipitation for the month. Actually, we're only about 2 1/4, just shy of that. We were more than 1.5 inches shy of our normal total in August. So we're a bit of a drought pattern, to be quite honest. Now, as far as the temperatures are concerned, we were below the norm pretty much most of the month. Look at all these slices indicating different days. It's a 31-day period. We only had, 4 or 6 days where we had temperatures above the norm. The rest of them were below the norm. So that's why we stayed a bit on the cool side. By the way, I want to remind you of the Shore Living Expo on Saturday, September the 6th. We're looking for a cooperative skyline for that as well. So be sure you come on out. So 76 degrees in Georgetown as well as Lewis and in Laurel. We're looking for a high of 76 degrees in Cambridge, and we anticipate a high of 76 not only in Salisbury, but also in Snow Hill. Now, along the coast, we're looking for temperatures in the 70s there as well. 75 at Dewey Beach, Lewis, and Bethany Beach, as well as Ocean City, 72, and Rehoboth Beach, 77. Chicotee winds out of the northeast at about 15 miles per hour for the most part. Lunchtime, clearing skies, but by early Wednesday morning, we have cloudy skies building back up in our neck of the woods. We may get a brief sprinkle between Fenwick Island down to Ocean City, like about that long, and then it kind of dissipates pretty quickly, along with afternoon heating. Now, remember, the UV index is going to be elevated. In fact, we're going to be at a very high level for the next 4 to 5 days in a row. That's why, despite how cool it may feel, you got to be sure to protect yourself with your sunblock. High pressure will continue to block things and keep things at bay for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then we get to Thursday, Friday, is when things will break down a bit and give us a chance of a sprinkle or two to push through, even on Friday in the afternoon. But we're still not looking at profound rain changing our weather. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Quick reminder, football season kicks off on Thursday here on this channel, and then we have Sunday night football for this coming Sunday.
All right, thanks again, Paul. Looking regionally now, protesters gathered at BWI Airport in Maryland this weekend, calling for the state to cut ties with Avelo Airlines, which operates deportation flights. Reporter Caroline Forback shows us how activists are using a petition to push for change.
Chanting and singing echoed through the departures area of BWI Sunday morning as dozens protested Avelo Airlines' role in federal deportation flights. The airline signed a federal charter contract with ICE back in April. Last month, Avelo operated nearly 20% of deportation flights nationwide, according to flight tracker data. Now, activists from Doctors for Camp Closure, the Baltimore Rapid Response Network, and Maryland Indivisible chapters are targeting Avelo's Maryland operations.
So we have the ability to stand up by using a petition that the Baltimore Rapid Response Network has created, and that is to request Governor Wes Moore to break the contract.
Since the federal contract is with the Department of Homeland Security, not Maryland, Governor Moore can't interfere. But he could look at Maryland's agreements with Avelo, like the lease that allows the airline to operate out of BWI, or state tax breaks. New York and Connecticut are already exploring similar options.
We're calling on the state of Maryland to tell Avelo you're not welcome to operate here as long as you're being ICE collaborators.
Organizers say they've collected more than 4,000 signatures backing that demand.
What's next? This is going to be a continuing basis. There are actions happening throughout the country, and we're going to keep supporting that.
Coming up next, Costco has a new shopping policy. It officially took effect today. We'll tell you what makes it controversial.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Well, Costco's controversial new shopping policy officially took effect today. Back in June, the warehouse chain allowed shoppers with executive membership to enter the store from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. during the week, meaning other customers had to wait until after 10 to shop. The company said the policy was not strictly enforced, but now Costco says the grace period is over, the policy taking effect. Some customers not happy with the change, saying the company is favoring its higher paying members and alienating the rest. Well, Labor Day is almost over. Many people associate the holiday with the end of summer, school starting again, cookouts, a day off work. But our Charlie Sakaitis shows us the history behind Labor Day.
Labor Day. What's it all about? Well, it's more than just a day off on the first Monday in September. It's more than the start of fall, the beginning of school, and the start of football. Labor Day is, after all, for the workers, the laborers.
For the most part, we're talking about people with manufacturing jobs, construction jobs, farm hands, cleaners, and more. The people who do physical and usually hard work. It's a celebration of the achievements of the American worker, and it has got a long history. Labor activists pushed for a federal holiday of this kind all the way back in the late 19th century. And before it was a federal holiday, it was a local one. Some municipalities as early as 1885 pushed the idea. States like New York, Oregon, Colorado, Massachusetts, and New Jersey were all early adopters. In fact, more than half the country, including Delaware and Maryland, joined the fray before Grover Cleveland made it an official nationwide holiday in 1894. There is a bit of a dispute over who actually started the Labor Day push. It's generally between two men, Matthew McGuire and Peter McGuire. They weren't related, but they were both supporters of the working class, and both of them were on hand for the nation's very first Labor Day parade in New York City. A lot has changed in the more than 120 years since the federalization of Labor Day. In the early 20th century, America saw the rise of labor movements, unions, and the fight for better wages, shorter hours, and safer conditions. And you've got to remember the standard at the time: low wages, 60-hour work weeks, dangerous jobs, and no social safety net. But as America made its way through the Great Depression and a pair of world wars, those early efforts started to pay off. The New Deal era of America ushered in the Fair Labor Standards Act, creating the minimum wage, the 40-hour work week, and setting the stage for labor protections. Unions also gained power in the mid-20th century, and that's often credited with stronger negotiating power, better wages, and even benefits, things like pensions and health insurance for the working class. This graph from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities shows that from the 30s to the 50s, wealth inequality actually declined, and then it stayed somewhat flat until around 1980. When, according to data from the Congressional Budget Office, things started changing. Wages for the bottom 90% started to stagnate. Wealth inequality started to grow at a rapid pace, a trend that's continued all the way to present day. Here now in 2025, wealth inequality between the rich and the poor is again similar to the inequality of the late 1920s. Minimum wage purchasing power is at a near 70-year low, and a brand new technology, artificial intelligence, is also changing every field in ways we don't quite yet understand.
So where do things go from here? Well, that's really for the politicians, the voters, and the corporations to decide. But in the meantime, if you get the day off, enjoy it, and keep labor in mind. Remember, they're the ones that keep this whole thing called America going.
Thanks, Charlie, for the history lesson. And coming up next, we have the science behind fall foliage, how this year's weather could be changing colors. Well, we know Labor Day means the unofficial end to summer. Might be time to break out the sweaters, have that pumpkin spice. It also means looking forward to fall foliage. And in today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at how this summer's extreme heat and heavy rains could impact the autumn colors and where the best places are in the U.S. to view them.
The end of summer means the vibrant green leaves will soon transition to the warm hues of orange, yellow, and red, turning mountain ranges into mosaics of fall colors.
It's a really great opportunity to just get yourself outdoors, look at something beautiful.
Brett Keller is the CEO of Priceline. The travel site recently came out with a list of the best places for leaf peeping this year, and clocking in at number 1 was the Hudson Valley region in New York.
We typically look at accommodation trends, and we also are able to understand how far away those consumers are from those accommodations.
These radiant colors generate a lot of green for local economies. In Vermont alone, the state estimates the fall foliage brings in around $1 billion in visitor spending.
It is a major driver of our tourism industry.
William Keaton is a professor at the University of Vermont. He says there are a variety of factors as to why some areas experience more vibrant colors than other regions. One being the vast contrast between temperatures during the day and at night, the variety of tree species, and the landscape.
Fall foliage is a delicate dance between a number of things, and climate is one of the most important.
This summer brought intense heat and excessive rainfall to parts of the country. Keaton says those extreme weather patterns impact how vibrant the colors will be and when the leaves will begin to change.
These kinds of extremes create stresses in trees. They begin to brown up and drop their leaves sooner than they otherwise would.
Keaton says climate change could also cause the fall foliage season to shorten over time. If you do want to carve out time to see the fall colors, they typically peak in the beginning of October in the Northeast. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Here's another live look outside into Lewis. We'll have one more check on the forecast after the break. It is almost time to celebrate all the things that make Delmarva a great place to live. Everyone is invited to the Shore Living Expo. It features local vendors, live demonstrations, and more. And it's all happening this weekend on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center in Salisbury. See you there.
All right, so in Salisbury right now, Tidal Health camera, we're at 59 cool degrees right now. We're going to stay right close to that, if not slightly above over the next few hours. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Barbara Schweda of Millsboro. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. So, first of all, on Thursday, football season, NFL football season kicks off right here on NBC, by the way. And then we will also have our Sunday night football that'll kick in for you as well. But as far as the forecast is concerned, we'll go from 75 tomorrow to 78, up to 84, 87, and 87. And then we'll drop again on football Sunday back to that real cool fall-like pattern. And then it's going to stick this time around.
All right. Well, I think it still looks a little bit like summer to me. Thank you for joining us for Coast TV News at 11. You can find more local news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.